What's going on, guys? Simple Sports back again. Another episode. Early morning. A little tired. But we got some stuff to talk about really quickly. Cavs Sixers last night. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Lakers and Lonzo Ball specifically. His impact on the Lakers. So let's talk about that first. Lonzo Ball facing a lot of pressure coming out of UCLA from his dad, from the media. It's been a big circus, right? And he comes into LA and is expected as a rookie by seemingly everyone to be like some transcendent player who's going to turn the franchise around immediately. And in the first month, 2 months, 3 months, people thought he was a bust. Fans were, there were people on both sides of the fence, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people thought he was a bust. A marginal player at best for a lot of people. No one thought he was any good. There were some people that thought he was okay. And people were disappointed. And it goes back to me talking about the social media age and really just the day and age we live in, the microwave society where everyone expects everything to be instant. And it's just not that way. It's never been that. Sports has never been that way. It's very rare to have a first, second, maybe even third year player, especially in the NBA. Even in the NFL, you might get a rookie or two, and only because they fill a missing void, they might have a huge impact. For example, you might be a really good team across the board, but you're lacking a left tackle, and it throws everything out of whack. It's not like that in basketball, right? In football, if you're missing a left tackle, think about all the things that possibly can't be done, right? You can't run to the left side of the ball or left side of the field, or it's hard to anyway. You can't protect your quarterback's blind side, at least in most cases, since most quarterbacks are right-handed. You can't protect his blind side. So now he's shaky in the pocket. You may give up more sacks as a result, which means less time in possession, less possessions as a whole, maybe more turnovers, maybe more forced errant throws, fumbles, throwaways, scrambles that might lead to someone getting hurt. Like, there's so many additional variables that could go awry by not having one position in football. And you can acquire a young player, a rookie left tackle, a rookie running back that might change life, on and on and on, a corner. And they could fill a void for you, and at that void being filled could have a chain reaction across the team, right? Those are the good players, the ones that can do that. And in basketball, it's very rare that happens just because it's so, especially now, it's such a positionless sport that it doesn't really matter if you're a rookie, if you're a 4, 5, 6 year vet. I mean, look at Anthony Davis. He is killing people, and he's been swept in the playoffs once, and that was the only time he made it. He's still, he's in years. LeBron James, it took him 8, 9 years to win his first title. 8 years. It just doesn't happen. And so Lonzo Ball is a great player to me. I think he's going to be a star. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar, and that's mostly because of his numbers. And I think impact-wise, I think he is going to be a superstar. But I think people are so obsessed with points, rebounds, and assists that I don't think it's going to amount to him being a superstar in a lot of people's eyes. But it is what it is. It's just a part of the media and fans being so up and down, left and right on a daily, almost hourly basis when it comes to sports. And so I'm watching Lonzo Ball, and there's so many things that he does. He plays defense. He's not a great defender, but he's an opportunistic defender. Created a couple turnovers to fast break, easy layups or dunks last night. And he's done that all season. Jumps in passing lanes. He's a long, he's a 6'6" point guard, 6'5", 6'6" point guard. That's rare. And he could cause problems in places not necessarily. Listen, he's not going to go out and stop Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry from getting to the hole or shooting threes or, they're going to get theirs. They're all-time great players. But he can certainly, in opportune times, during the game, make a play that is going to change the direction of the game. Maybe it's a key defensive stop in the third quarter that starts a run for them. A 8-0 run catches them back up, or maybe they take the lead, whatever the case may be. But the point being, he's a culture changer is the big thing. You can watch him, they pass the ball more. Everyone is moving the ball. I mean, the ball just is hot potato, hot potato, hot potato. And that's a good thing. That's what you want, out of your team, is for them to move the ball, play with each other, play for each other. That always generates positivity. Now, obviously they need more experience, and I think their winning streak, they've won, let me see. So they've won 8 of their last 11 games. And I mean, that's not easy to do, and over good teams. They beat the Heat, Hawks, and man, the Kings are man. The Mavericks are but then they beat the Thunder. If you want to go back a little further, they actually beat the Thunder twice. They beat them on the 4th, and then they beat them 4 days later on the 8th. They beat the Nets, no big deal there. So they've been winning games, and they've looked good doing it. They've been fun to watch doing it. Isaiah's dropped, I think, 29 last night. He seemed to have humbled himself and sort of found a role within the Lakers organization. I don't know if that's going to be long term. Listen, I tell you what, if we could keep him as a bench player, as a sixth man, I'd take him as a sixth man all day. Absolutely. I would certainly take him as a sixth man. I said that in the Cleveland debacle. I was like, he is more of a Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, Eric Gordon. Like, he's, to me, in that vein, as far as guys that can come off the bench and easily give you 20, 25, 30 points, and in some cases more. I mean, we've seen Isaiah hit the 40, 50 mark. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially coming up against the bench players. He could do that. And I take him as a six man, absolutely. He might be a little expensive for a six man, but I'll take him. Given what they have and what they could potentially get, yeah. I mean, I'm happy with that. Lonzo Ball has been impressive to me. I think he's a culture changer. I think he is going to do well. I think he's going to be a star. I think he is a superstar to me. I think he's going to be a superstar, but I think because his numbers won't be that eye-popping, as far as he's not going to average 25, 10 and 8, but he might average 12 to 15, 10 and 8, and that's good. I mean, that's good. I'm good with that, especially for what else he does and how he affects the team. So I'm rooting for Lonzo, obviously. I'm rooting for the Lakers. We'll see how things shake out over the next couple years. See how they finish the season. I don't think the playoffs, I think, at this point are I don't think that's happening. They are, let's see. Yeah, they're like 6 games out of the 8 spot. And I don't foresee any of those teams falling so far that, the Lakers could squeak into the playoffs. They had their opportunity. Earlier in the year, they dropped a couple games that they definitely should have won. Should have beat Golden State a couple of times. And a couple other games that they definitely should have won. But listen, I'm impressed. And I'm excited for the future, most importantly. This year is a wash. It's a lost cause. Well, I won't say that because, again, they're not mathematically eliminated, but the chances of that happening, are slim to none. So let's move on to the Cavs. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think it's pretty straightforward. The Cavs are what they were before the trade deadline with younger players and maybe a little less negativity in the locker room. But as far as them as a product of basketball, they look exactly the same. A bunch of guys on the court just kind of playing basketball, but with no real, they don't have a real shot to compete. They look like just a bunch of guys. And LeBron James last night had the quietest 30 points, I think, ever. Like, it was so, I don't want to say meaningless, but it was a 30-point game. It was LeBron being LeBron James. He stuffing that stat sheet like nobody's business, and they're losing. They lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Sixers. They went toe-to-toe with the Nets, and it took a Herculean effort from LeBron and a big shot by Clarkson at the end to beat the Brooklyn Nets. And then they come out and lose to the Cavs. They lose to the Wizards without John Wall, who obviously they're playing better, but let's be honest, okay? They're not going to win in the playoffs without John Wall. It is what it is. But in this current streak that they're on, they've been playing better without him, so we'll see how that goes. But the Cavs, I mean, look at this stat line. LeBron James had 30 points. Their second leading scorer was Larry Nance Jr. off the bench with 13. Then Rodney Hood with 11. They had four guys in double figures. Clarkson had 10. And then Osman had 6. Thompson had 6. George Hill had 7 with 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Kyle Korver had 9. He had a couple threes. I am so unimpressed. It reminds me of the 07 team. You had just a bunch of guys and LeBron James, and that got them nowhere. I mean, it got them to the finals, but they got swept. And they got to the finals because LeBron James was just flat out unstoppable. But they got swept by the Spurs. And if they get to the finals this year, especially if Golden State is there, they're going to get swept again. The team is just not good. They're stagnant offensively. The ball moves, but you know what they remind me of offensively is the Titans. They're just so unimpressive offensively. And every now and then they go on a spurt, just like the Titans did. The Titans, they put up 38 against the Seahawks. They had a couple of big explosions in the second halves of games as far as offense goes. The playoff game, they came back to win that in the second half. And it's just like the Cavs. The Cavs go on these runs. They go on a 10-point run, 15-point run, 20-point run. 15 to nothing or 15 to 2, 15 to 4. And it doesn't amount to anything. It's like empty calories. It's almost like it's for show. And I mean, I don't know what you do to fix it, because these guys aren't going to get that much better over the course of the next couple of games heading into the playoffs. They're young kids. George Hill, Kyle Korver are the only vets on that team other than Thompson, but Thompson's going to get you, if you're lucky, 10 rebounds and 6 to 8 points. And outside of him, I mean, who else you got? George Hill, he was in a couple of playoff series, but he wasn't going to win them. He didn't have that much of an impact. He was in those because of Paul George. Kyle Korver is a great shooter, but I mean, that's all he is. He's a great shooter. Jordan Clarkson off the bench. He's a nice spark plug, but he's very streaky. Larry Nance Jr., I love him. I love Clarkson too. I would have loved to still have him as a Laker, but him and Larry Nance, you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, Larry Nance had 13 last night, but he also, he struggles to shoot the ball extremely well. He's not like a knockdown shooter. He's an energy guy, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. You need that on your team. Jeff Green he's kind of hit and miss some nights. All they got is LeBron James, and they're pretty mad outside of that. I think they're going to have a problem. I think they're going to have a tough time getting out of the East. I know everyone wants to go ahead and write them into the finals, but it's funny to me how this happens. So the Cavs went on their streak earlier this year, obviously with slightly different roster, but they went on a streak earlier this year. Something like 18 of 20 or 19 of 20, whatever the numbers were exactly. I don't remember. And everyone was raving about them, right? And no one mentioned that the teams that they faced had a combined record. I don't remember the exact number, but I did the math. It was something in the neighborhood of like 370 wins to like 450, 460 losses, something like that. They didn't beat anybody. The team is not good. They're in the East. That's what's happening. They're in the Eastern Conference. They're not that good. The teams that they beat were not that good. So it's a problem. And now the Golden State Warriors are like maybe going into the All-Star break. I don't know what their record is off the top of my head, but going into the All-Star break, they were like 4 games off of what they were last year. And it was like, oh my God, are they vulnerable? No, no, they're not vulnerable. I don't know what you're watching. They were like 3 or 4 games off of last year. Nick Wright is finding every way he can to justify and to fit the Cavs into the room with the Golden State Warriors and even the Houston Rockets. And he's doing every kind of number crunching and twisting that he can to make them fit. And they just keep winning games, and they just keep getting disrespected by a lot of people. Oh, I don't think they're going to make it out of the West. I don't think this. I don't think that. Stop it, man. The Cavs aren't that good. If they make it to the finals, they aren't going to challenge Golden State, who I think is going to the finals, no question about it. They're not going to beat them. They're not going to challenge them. They might get one game sort of similarly to the way they did last year, where it was just a absolute great performance. I mean, they put up almost 50 points in the first quarter. You're not beating them. And I mean, that game was still in question. This team is worse than that. So I don't understand how you can justify giving them any sort of reason or any sort of belief. I mean, they have to have the belief themselves, but as a fan, as media, as people outside of the locker room, how do you look at this and think that this is going to be able to compete? It's not. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Just wanted to make a little quick update before I head to work. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.